Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elena, and in this channel I make lots of useful videos on how to get a job, how to get a job in the bank, how to be successful on the job, interview tips, and more. So if you are interested in that sort of content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and keep watching. So welcome back. Today I will be discussing a very important topic, and it's what you shouldn't say during an interview. I'm a recruiter myself, and I speak to several candidates every day, and I hear answers that I wish I could change, and I wish I could help those people not say those things or say it in a different way. So in this video, I'm hoping to help you guys and give you guys some tips on some of the answers you might think sounds good, but it really doesn't to the employer. So I am currently using an iPhone 14 Pro to film this video. I just got this phone, so I really hope that the quality and the sound is good for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you are having trouble hearing or if how's the quality in general. I am testing out this phone to see how it is and what people really talk about when they say that the iPhone 14 Pro has really good camera. Anyways, so let's get straight to the topic. So as a recruiter, every day I'm speaking to several candidates, and I ask them some of the major questions such as what is your weakness, what is your strength, how would you deal with a certain situation, and I always get answers that are a bit off or they just don't sound right. So I'd like to share with you guys some of the tips and what to avoid. So I'll give you guys an example. So the other day I was speaking to a candidate in regards to his weakness. So I asked him the question of what is your weakness, and his answer was really directly honest, and he was really giving out his weakness, not really taking any positive approach. So his answer was mostly about time management and how he feels like he has trouble dealing with a lot of people at once and sort of juggling several tasks at once. But he did say that he's working on that and he's hoping to work on that skill. Now, this is not a good answer just because it really tells us that you are not good at this skill, and this is a generic skill that you should be good at. Time management is something that applies to all jobs. So if you're telling the employer that you're not good at this skill, chances of getting hired are very low. When you're answering this question, it is important to research on the company. So give an answer that really showcases your skills and shows how you can succeed in this role. A good example would be, even if you're being honest and even if you're starting off with something negative, be sure to take a quick positive approach and let the employer know that now you have this skill and now you are ready to work with this skill. So a good example would be, it's very similar to the answer before, except this one takes more of a positive turn. So for example, you can say that greatest weakness is that I have trouble saying no, and then I would be following this with an example. So you always have to provide an example of how this applied to you, for example, in your last role. So I would say something like, in my last role, I had trouble saying no because I would always say yes to my colleagues who needed help, and I would take more tasks than I could handle, which led me to feeling a little bit burned out at the end of the day. So I started to work on this by creating a schedule and making sure that I prioritize my tasks so that I don't feel burnt out when I'm taking on so many tasks at once. So this is a good example because although it's a weakness, it's actually not really a weakness for the company. Of course, they want to hire somebody who's hardworking, somebody who wants to take on more projects and efficient. I think that this is a great answer because it really showcases your skill as well. It shows that you're hardworking, it shows that you're determined, and it shows that you are willing to help and be a good team player as well. You can also say several other answers, but even if you do start off with something negative, like I'm not good at this, just make sure you take a positive approach and let them know that now you're able to do that and now you're really good at that. Another tip I'd like to give you guys is too long of an answer or too short. So this is very common when I talk to candidates every single day. Whenever I'm trying to pre-screen them and ask them interview questions, I have had some candidates who take like 10 minutes to answer one question and they just keep going on and on. For example, I asked one person, well, can you tell me a little bit more about how you have used Java in the past? And he started explaining his whole career history. He started talking about his personal life. He would just talk and talk for 10 minutes, and it gets boring. The person that's asking you the question is probably not even listening after 2 minutes. So it is really important to be mindful of how long you're talking. Although your answer may seem great and you're telling them, all your skills and how good you are, the last thing you want to do is to talk too long. Even though you might be a good fit, they might pass on you because you don't have a good sense of time management and you're just every single answer is so long, so that doesn't look good on you. This also applies to short answers. If I'm asking you to tell me a situation where you had to deal with an angry customer, if you're just giving me a basic one-line answer, well, saying something like, well, in my last job, I did handle an angry customer, but I was able to make her happy by giving her free coffee, for example. That is a very short answer. You have to make sure that for something like a situational question or a behavior question, you have a beginning, middle, and an end, all within a good time frame. You don't want to give just a basic one-line answer because that shows that you're in a rush, you're impatient, maybe you don't know how to answer the question, or you might just not be a good fit for the role. So just make sure that you're not talking too long, or even you're just not giving enough information. Tip number 3 was to never talk bad about a company. Even though it's your past employer, and even though you've had such a bad time in your last role, maybe the management sucked, maybe the environment was bad, maybe they were just not a good company and you really like this company, just never talk bad about them no matter what. I have people tell me every day about how in their last job they were, they didn't like the management, they didn't have a good reward system, and so they really want to work with us because they feel like we are so much better. Even though you might feel like this is a good answer and like telling them positive things about their company, it's a big no to the employers when they hear that you're talking bad about your last job, because they will think that when we hire you, you're going to do the same, and this is not good for the reputation, and this says a lot about your personality. You should never take a negative approach. If you didn't like your last job, keep that to yourself and try to give an answer that doesn't lean towards negativity. The last tip I want to share is pay. A lot of people like to talk about pay during interviews. Maybe at the end of the interview, when they ask you, well, do you have any other questions? People will go and be like, well, how much is the salary going to be? Or is there benefits? This is not good, because you talking about the pay so fast and so early during the interview will showcase that you really don't care about the job and you just care about the money. I know this question is important and you do want to know how much you get paid, but I would say do your research. Search on Google. I'm sure the pay will be somewhere. Or, ask around other people, but never during the interview should you say that you're more concerned about the pay rather than asking a good question like, what is the ideal candidate for this role? Or some other questions. Okay, guys, that's all for this video. I just wanted to make a short video about some of the things I've been hearing lately from candidates and what you should avoid. I will probably make a part 2 of this video with some more questions. If you do have any questions that you think you have trouble with, write them down in the comments below. I'll take a look and I will answer them in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.